So as we all know, Marvel's been slowly revealing the 6 Infinity Stones throughout the course of their shared movie universe, with the idea that Thanos will eventually gather all of them up and complete his Infinity Gauntlet in next year's Avengers Infinity War. But if you've been paying attention to the MCU up until this point, you might remember that these stones are kinda scattered around all over the universe on different planets, and that some of them have changed locations a few times. All in all, it's gotten to the point where a number of people are kinda confused about where all the Infinity Stones are. So if you're one of those people, don't worry, because we're gonna be tracking every appearance of the Infinity Stones we've seen so far and figure out where all of them, including the one we haven't really seen yet, currently are in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Alright, so first, let's check out the first Infinity Stone we ever saw in the MCU, the Space Stone, also known as the Tesseract. Originally appearing in some of Howard Stark's drawings and notes in 2010's Iron Man 2, which I guess he put together after finding the Tesseract while looking for Captain America and studying it as part of S.H.I.E.L.D., we see another artist rendering of the stone in 2011's Thor, when Selvig flips through a book on Norse mythology at the library and finds a picture of what looks like Odin holding the Tesseract. It physically appears in the movie's after credits scene when Nick Fury shows it to a mind-controlled Selvig and asks him to study it.
Legend tells us one thing, history another. But every now and then we find something that belongs to both.
We see the Tesseract again in Captain America the First Avenger, when it's explained that it was an ancient Asgardian artifact that was hidden away on Earth thousands of years ago before being discovered in 1942 by the Red Skull. The Tesseract was eventually lost in the ocean after the Skull grabbed it during a fight with Captain America and was teleported away. We then see the stone pop back up in 2012's The Avengers as a big part of Loki's plan to bring the Chitauri to Earth, later being used by Thor to send him and Loki back to Asgard at the end of the movie. 2014's Guardians of the Galaxy showed the Space Stone both in its Tesseract form and in its raw singularity form as part of the Collector's hologram, and 2015's Avengers Age of Ultron showed the Tesseract breaking apart and turning into the proper Space Stone as a part of Thor's vision. Where is it now? Well, as revealed by Volstagg in the mid-credits scene for Thor the Dark World, the Space Stone is currently locked away in Odin's vault back on Asgard.
But if I may ask, why not keep it secure in your own vault?
The Tesseract is already on Asgard.
Next, let's take a look at the Mind Stone. We first see this stone as a gem embedded in Loki's scepter in 2012's The Avengers, which he uses to fire energy blasts and mind control a handful of different people, including Selvig, random S.H.I.E.L.D. agents, Hawkeye, and Iron Man. Well, almost.
This usually works.
All performance issues, it's not uncommon. 1 out of 5.
We later see the stone, still a part of Loki's staff, in the mid-credits scene of 2014's Captain America the Winter Soldier before it reappears in Guardians of the Galaxy in its raw form as a part of the Collector's hologram. We eventually see the actual stone in 2015's Avengers Age of Ultron, when the outer shell is finally broken by Ultron and the stone itself is implanted in Vision's forehead. The stone later appears during Thor's vision and, due to being a part of Vision himself, appears throughout 2016's Captain America Civil War. Where is it now? Well, considering how it's stuck on Vision right now, the Mind Stone is currently located at Avengers HQ. Now let's check out the Reality Stone, also known as the Ether. Originally seen in 2014's Thor the Dark World, the Ether was a powerful weapon that Malekith and the Dark Elves almost used to destroy the universe twice. Once during the war with Thor, Thor's grandfather, and during the fight at the end of the movie with Thor himself. The Ether is eventually properly contained by the Asgardians and dropped off with the Collector in the mid-credit scene of the movie. We later see the stone in its raw form in the Collector's hologram during Guardians of the Galaxy before it reappears as a part of Thor's vision in Avengers Age of Ultron. And considering it was given to the Collector during Thor the Dark World, and it's never mentioned whether or not it got lost or stolen or whatever after that Power Stone explosion in Guardians of the Galaxy, I think it's a pretty safe bet that the Reality Stone is still located in the Collector's collection on Nowhere. After that, we saw the Power Stone. We first saw this stone towards the beginning of Guardians of the Galaxy while it was still inside the orb on Morag that Star-Lord manages to steal. And as we saw at the end of the movie, the stone was given to the Nova Corps on Xandar for safekeeping, which may not have been a great idea considering how many Nova members died in that movie. You know what, whatever. Now let's check out the Time Stone. First seen in Guardians of the Galaxy as part of the Collector's hologram. Are you guys noticing a pattern yet? The Time Stone wasn't fully featured until 2016's Doctor Strange as a part of the Eye of Agamotto. And this is kind of interesting because we still don't know how exactly the stone made its way to Earth or how the ancient sorcerers were able to find a way to tap into the stone's potential without accidentally killing themselves. All we know so far is that Agamotto was the one who created the amulet and was the first one to experiment with the stone's power, with Cagliostro later studying the stone on his own and writing his findings down in the book the Ancient One keeps in the library in Camartage.
This one's got pages missing.
That's the Book of Cagliostro, the study of time.
Either way, nothing really happens to either the stone itself or the Eye of Agamotto amulet housing it, and considering Doctor Strange puts it back where he found it at the end of the movie, it's pretty obvious that the Time Stone is currently located on Earth in Kamar-Taj. Now finally, let's talk about the Soul Stone. So far, we've only seen it in its raw form in the Collector's hologram during Guardians of the Galaxy, but we haven't seen it or heard of it since in the MCU. That having been said, I'm willing to bet that we'll most likely end up seeing it with Hela in Thor Ragnarok. Now I'm saying that based off a couple different things, like how out of the last two Marvel movies that come out before Infinity War does, Thor Ragnarok and Black Panther, it just makes way more sense for the stone to show up during Ragnarok. Now I will admit Black Panther is a definite contender for the location of the Soul Stone, given the different elements in the Black Panther mythos that could be explained away in the movie as being a function of the stone, like how Black Panthers can communicate with past Panthers in the comics, and on top of that there is the fact that the Soul Stone in Wakanda better explains why Thanos and his army are trying to invade them in the Avengers Infinity War teaser we saw at Comic-Con. If you haven't seen that, by the way, you can check out my trailer breakdown, links are in their usual spots. That having been said though, I still don't think we're going to end up seeing the Soul Stone in Black Panther. For one thing, if it did show up in the Black Panther movie, there'd be way too many Infinity Stones associated with Earth, and that wouldn't make any sense. And on top of that, there's barely any evidence supporting this idea. Even the theory that the Black Panther backstory is connected to the Soul Stone kind of falls apart when you look at some of the stuff Kevin Feige said when the trailer came out. People who read the comics would be familiar with the heart-shaped herb and the ceremonies that surround that. That's partially spiritual. We certainly don't call it magic, but there's vibranium that has been interwoven within that soil and that land for thousands of years, so there are other things going on with it. Thor Ragnarok, meanwhile, has a ton of really strong evidence to support itself. For instance, it's been reported that during a Q&A for Australia's Supernova Expo, Chris Hemsworth apparently said that the Soul Stone would be revealed real soon. And considering the fact that Thor Ragnarok comes out before Black Panther does, I think it's safe to say that we can take that as meaning the Soul Stone is going to appear somehow, some way in Thor Ragnarok. And on top of that, during the most recent trailer for Thor Ragnarok, we saw Hela manipulating some kind of orange energy and growing her classic horns, which to me looks like she's manipulating the Soul Stone's energy to collect souls and make herself stronger. And on top of that, we're still ignoring the fact that Hela is the goddess of death. She's supposed to be able to collect souls. What else is going to help her do that better than the actual Soul Stone? Now that having been said, assuming the stone does actually show up in Thor Ragnarok, let's talk about where we know for a fact that the stone can't show up. I've seen a ton of theories stating that it's going to pop up inside Mjolnir and that's the reason Hela's breaking it in the trailers, but come on, that's got to be one of the laziest plot elements I've ever heard of. You mean to tell me that the Soul Stone, one out of a set of the most powerful weapons in the universe, just happens to have been with Thor the entire time and nobody, not even Odin, ever mentioned it? That's pretty dumb. Also, wouldn't we have seen it on the ground in this shot when Hela destroyed the hammer? And why wouldn't the Tesseract have been sent off after Thor and Loki got back to Asgard after the Avengers? If it's so dangerous to keep two Infinity Stones together, what's the point of having two Infinity Stones together?
The Tesseract is already on Asgard. It is not wise to keep two Infinity Stones so close together.
I also don't think it'll be with Heimdall for pretty much the same reasons as Mjolnir. Nobody mentioned it, why wasn't the other stone sent away before, blah blah blah. Also, as I said before, the Soul Stone in the comics has a desire to collect souls. Outside of that one line referencing souls in Thor the Dark World,
from here I could see 9 realms and 10 trillion souls.
Heimdall's never shown any desire to collect souls or even any interest in souls in general. Also, that whole theory that his eyes are orange, that must mean he has the Soul Stone, makes absolutely no sense. Doctor Strange's eyes never turned green when he used the Time Stone, and Red Skull's eyes never changed color when he grabbed the Space Stone. Vision has the Mind Stone, and his eyes aren't yellow or even the same blue everybody else's eyes turned when they were brainwashed by Loki. Really, the only times anybody's eye color changed while using an Infinity Stone was in Guardians of the Galaxy, when both Ronan and Star-Lord had purple eyes while using the Power Stone, and Thor the Dark World when Malekith had red eyes while using the Reality Stone. So all that having been said, just remember, the Power Stone is with the Nova Corps on Xandar, the Time Stone is with Earth Sorcerers on Kamar-Taj, the Space Stone is in Odin's Vault on Asgard, the Reality Stone is in the Collector's Collection on Nowhere, the Mind Stone is on Earth in Vision's forehead, and nobody knows where exactly the Soul Stone is yet, but I'm pretty sure it's going to turn out to be with Hela in Thor Ragnarok. But anyways guys, that's my take on where the Infinity Stones are in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. If you guys like this video and you agreed with anything I've said, or even if you have your own theories you want to throw out there, then go ahead and let me know in the comments down below. Otherwise, I will see you all next time. Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked the video, be sure to click that like button, maybe leave me a comment while you're at it, and go ahead and click that subscribe button. Also, don't forget to check out any of my social media pages. I've got a Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and Instagram. All those links are going to be in the description below. And I've also got my last video right there in the middle of your screen, so if you want to check that out, go ahead and click it, check it out. Alright, and I will see you all next time.